Yes, hi everyone. Welcome to our today's class. Hope that you are doing well, guys. As you know, we are moving slowly to our Ccna 2 final examinations. Soon we are going to be done. And remember, guys, on June, we will have your graduation ceremony. So the end of June. So I'm trying my best. The first week next week. No, the first week of June to be done with the whole Ccna 2. And remember, guys, so I'm trying to break the concept down for you in order for you to have a good understanding. Yeah, so for today, we are going to go back because I'm taking the one that is more easier. So I took first chapter 7 that talks about dynamic host configuration protocols. And today I will take chapter 6 that talks about the Ethernet or Ethechannel, right? So this is what we are going to do today. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to do it together. So please, guys, you need to work with your packet tracer. Your packet tracer must be already open in order for you to go together with me, right? Let's start. Yeah, so we are going to talk about Ethechannel, right? What does it mean by Ethechannel, right? So Ethechannel means that you are combining physical port. So combining physical port, so in order to create one logical port. Port channel. So when we are talking about this Ethechannel, so Ethechannel means that we are combining physical ports in order to create one logical port. So we are combining the physical port, right? So in order for us to create one logical port, right? So this is the meanings. And that port, the new one that we're going to create, that logical port, we're going to call it what? What we call port channel, right? So it means this, the port that you're combining, those physical port that you're combining, you're going to come, those port will come from your switch, right? So you have a switch, you're going to combine the physical port to create a logical, one logical, right? So maybe port 1, 2, 3, and 4, you are going to combine those 4 to make one logical, right? So it means this, let me show you. Yeah. So you have here like a switch. This is your switch 1. So, and you have a switch 2 here, right? Now, what you're gonna do, you got the cables that goes from switch 1 to switch 2. There's another cable here. There's another cable, right? Now, you wanna combine those 3 cables so in order for you to create one logical, right? So you are going to combine those cables like together. So in order for you to create what we call a port channel, right? So this is what we are going to do, right? So guys, keep it in your mind. You have a switch. That switch will have so many ports. So I'm recording. So you have a switch. That switch will have so many ports or interfaces. Those ports, right? Like you have one switch here, another switch here, right? You can combine maybe 4 cables, 5 or 6. You make those 4, you're gonna make it 1, right? Now the question happen, why combining? Why combining those physical ports, right? Or why you have, or I want one, right? Why you have to do so? Why you have to combine those physical ports, right? Number one, you want to increase your bandwidth, right? Increase your speed, or sometimes the people, they talk about bandwidth, right? So if you have like 2 ports, so this one is 100 megabit per second and this one is 100 megabit per second. When you combine those 2 ports, that logical port will be what? Will be 200, right? So it means this, suppose like fast Ethernet 0/1, so it's 100 megabit per second, and interface fast Ethernet 0/2, it's also 100 megabit per second, right? So if you combine them, right? So by combining those 2, right? You combine them, you are going to get what? You combine those 2 physical, you're gonna get 200. So your logical now will have what? 200 megabit per second, right? This is the meaning, right? So suppose like from your switch, you take 2 physical ports, right? You combine them to make 1 logical. So if it's 100, you're gonna have, your logical will be 200. So if you have like 4 interfaces, 400, your logical will be 400, right? Okay. Now, number 2, why we need this technology, this Ethernet or port aggregation. We call it again port aggregation, right? So number 2, we need it for what? For redundancy. So redundancy, the easiest way, it's something like backup, right? But I don't want to say it like that. So redundancy means what? So if you combine those physical ports, right? So if one port is not working, another one will take like over, right? So if you have like here, you have here one switch here. This is your switch 1. You have another switch here, like switch 2, right? And you run your cables here, right? And you combine them for you to make 1 logical, right? Now, what can happen? Sometimes 1 cable can fail. Even if 1 cable fails, what's gonna happen? Those 2 gonna still be fine. So your data can move using those 2. This is the meaning of redundancy, right? or maybe, so I can also, sometimes this redundancy is a bit hard. Let me say fell over, or what is the best way of saying it? Yeah, like fell over. Sometimes it can also be said like redundancy, right? Right? Or backup, right? So if one link failed, another one would do what? Would take over. Number 3, we're gonna use it for load balancing. Load balancing means sharing the workload, right? So we're gonna also use it for what? For load balancing. Load balancing means sharing the workload, right? So maybe one computer will be receiving more requests than another one from this switch. So the load balancing will do what? Will share the workload, right? So let's say you have like the computers here, right? You got your computers, maybe here, there's a server, right? And there's what, you have another computer. So this one will do what? Will share the workload, right? So in order for those 3 computers to work normally, right? So load balancing means sharing the workload between your devices, right? So when data will come from this switch, data will be shared, right? So those are the 3 most important parts that you need to understand. Number 1, when you combine physical ports, what can happen? You are going to have more bandwidth, right? So the road for sending data will be big. This is the meaning of bandwidth. So bandwidth, you must take it like a bigger road, right? So you're going to have a big road for sending your data, right? Number 2, when you combine it again, what's going to happen? If one switch or one cable failed, your data can move using those other cables, especially for servers. You don't want your server to be down, right? So that's why you need multiple links, right? Number 3, we need it for load balancing, sharing the workload, because we're gonna have your switch that's gonna have so many servers, so many computers, right? You don't want one computer to be overloaded. You can share the workload by using this Ethechannel, right? Now, how many physical ports can be combined, right? When you are using this Ethechannel technology, you can only combine 8 physical ports, right? It's 8 physical ports. Yeah. This is what you have to know, guys. You cannot go like above 8 physical ports. So if you have one switch here and another switch, your cables must only be like 8 maximum, right? Now, you have also to understand this, right? Both switches must have same configurations, right? When you are doing this Ethechannel, you have 2 switches, right? You can combine the physical port, those links, those cables, and combine them for you to make a logical one. We have to understand that those 2 switches must have the same configurations. Like what? Same configurations? Number one, like the speed. The speed must be the same on both switches. If here it's 100 megabit per second, there also it must be 100, right? Not here 100, there it's gonna be 1000. You are going to encounter a problem. Number two, beside the speed, you need also the duplex. Full duplex or half duplex. The duplex must be configured the same way, right? It's on both switches. You can also take the VLANs, right? The VLANs also must be the same, but we are going to see it so in practicals, right? So from the basic level, like the speed, the duplex, the VLANs, the trunk, and so on must be the same, right? In order for the Ethechannel to be formed or to be created, right? And now we have two ways of creating a logical port from the physical port combined, right? We do have, guys, two ways, right? So if you want to combine your physical port in order for you to make one logical, we do have two ways from the configuration side. The first one, you can do it manually, right? You can do it manually. You as an administrator, you have to go to every switch, do the configurations, right? The second way, it can be done dynamically, right? So dynamically, we do have two protocols or two computer programs that can allow you to create those Ethernets, those Ethechannels, right? So we're gonna have like, yeah, there is what we call PAG and, right? So those are the two protocols that you need, right? When you want the switches, your two switches, to make their own negotiations, you can go for those two protocols, right? I can write them down. Let me just say two protocols, right? This, so you can go for this PAGP. This one means port aggregation. Yep, a port aggregation protocol. And this one means link aggregation protocol. Link aggregation protocol. I can even go back here. Yeah. So you can go for port aggregation protocol or link aggregation protocol. So if you want to create, right? So if you want to form your Ethechannel dynamically, but this is Cisco proprietary, right? So this program or this protocol came from Cisco, so it's proprietary, right? But what you have to understand is this. So I will show you first how to do it manually, and next time we're going to move to dynamically, right? So as an overview, guys, whatever I said, we're talking about Ethechannel, or you can also call it what? Port aggregation. What does it mean? It means you got your switches, you are combining the physical links in order for you to create one logical, right? One logical port. That logical port, we call it port channel, right? This is the meaning. Why you have to do so? You are doing this because number one, you want to increase the bandwidth. When you're combining the physical port, you can increase the bandwidth. Number two, you want to create what we call failover, but there are some concepts that are like the technical name actually, but it means this: when one physical port fails, the computer, they can still talk. The switches will still be connected. You cannot lose the connectivity, especially for servers. You don't want users to lose the connectivity to the ATMs, to the servers, right? And number two, for load balancing, for sharing the workload, right? Now, how many physical ports you can combine? You can combine like a maximum of 8 physical ports. But remember that both switches must have the same configurations, like in terms of speed, duplex, VLAN. And there are 2 ways you can combine your physical port in order like to make a logical one. You can do it manually or dynamically, right? And when you decide to do it like dynamically, we do have 2 protocols, the PAGP and LAGP. PAGP is port aggregation protocol. This one is Cisco proprietary, and we do have the link aggregation protocol, right? First, let's do some exercises, and later on we are going to carry on, right? You have, let's go to packet tracer. So I'm gonna just drag and drop like 2 switches, and you can try to connect 0/1. From here, maybe I can take 0/10, 0/2, 0/11. I can take maybe 3 if I want. 0/12, all right? And here I can have now your computers and your computers here, right? So what you can do, like from here, we want to combine those 3 physical to make one logical. We're gonna do it manually, right? Manual creation. So what you're gonna do, you go to your switch, you go to CLI, to enable, configure terminal. Now, from here, what you have to do, you have to check how many links, 3 links, right? So the interface range from this switch, so it's from 0/1 up to 3, right? So you're gonna pick up those physical ports you wanna combine, the range of them, right? You can also say interface range, FA 0/1, like comma, space, FA 0/5, comma, right? Now, from here, right, we can try to negotiate about, we have to decide, because remember guys, those 2 switches must have the same speed. So I can say speed maybe 100, duplex, so I can say full, right? So I can also say MDIX, auto. This MDIX auto means what? Sometimes switches can use wrong cables. Remember guys, for you to connect like 2 switches, you have to use the crossover. But sometimes you can make a mistake, you are using straight cable, right? Now, switches can try to understand like each other. and do the auto configurations. All right, they can swipe the pins by themselves by using the MDIX, the media independence, right? Okay, now when you are done, the configuration is like very easy. We are going to create a logical one, right? By saying a channel group, right? You must give it a name, right? When you say a channel group, you must give it a name because you want to put those three ports. So I want to put them in one of the group. So I can call it like channel group 1 or channel group 2. Okay, let me call it what? Channel group 1, right? So if you forgot what to put next, but you have to put mode on. But if you forgot, guys, you can press question mark. The question mark will tell you that, sorry. So the question mark will tell you like, you must put mode, which mode you want, because you can do it manually or dynamically, right? For mode, we're gonna say on. So this is how you have to create this channel. So channel group 1, mode on. But remember, guys, from here, you can also say question mark, right? Question mark. Those are the options you can go for. But for now, because we are doing it manually, we're gonna say on. But later on, I will show you how to do it dynamically. So dynamically, you can go for active or auto or desirable, right? So you're gonna say it's on, right? When you are done with on, right? We can make those ones, those three ports, but you can also check. So if it has been created by saying do Ethechannel, do show show Ethechannel. So you're gonna say that you are using a layer 2 switch and you have like how many ports? You have 3 ports, but maximum port is what? 8, right? But you can also say this, do show Ethechannel summary, right? So from here, you can get like the same things, but with more details, right? So you can see that those 3 ports, they are here. You see, those 3 ports, they belong to group 1. So this is how you have to check after creating that port, right? So remember, channel group 1, but this one you can change it, right? Now we have to make these three ports like a trunk, right? They must be like trunk. So that logical port will be a trunk. So you have to say the switch port mode trunk, right? And right. Yeah. So with FA and with this, okay, we're gonna see what's going on. Yeah. Now you're gonna go to switch number 2. You're gonna do the same things. Enable, right? So interface range, I remember my range started from 10 so up to 13, right? Remember that the speed must be like the same. The duplex also must be like the same. The duplex was full. MDIX, we took it auto. And now from here, we're gonna say, so channel group 1 mode on. right? Switch port, mode trunk. So, and when you want to learn something about your combined port, you can say do show so Ethechannel summary. Oh, there's something wrong. Ethechannel.
Morning.
Right? So you can learn something, you can see here, those my 3 port, they are in group 1. Right? So thank you guys. So this is how you have to do it. But later on, we are going to move forward. So I'm going to just give you like a simple exercise. You are going to do it for me, right? So this is how my exercise will look like. So you might have like one switch here, like another one here. This is your switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, you have like 3 computers here. The same as here too. You got some 2 computers, and there also you got a computer here. So you can have this one maybe VLAN like 20. This also gonna be like VLAN also. 20. This one is gonna be VLAN 10. And you have to combine this one. That's gonna be your logical port. And beside that, remember that this is gonna be your trunk. Right, so guys, you can do for me this exercise. You have one switch here, there's another switch here, there's another switch, 3 switches. Those 2 switches are connected using 4 links. S1 and S3 are connected using 3 links, and you got like 3 VLANs, right? And from this switch 1, you got like 3 computers, and there you got also 2 computers, right? Remember that those 4, when you combine them, you must make it, you're gonna make that logical link as a trunk, right? So you have to move forward. So, and we are going to carry on later on, right? Thank you very much.